Hello YouTube, I decided I'm going to continue with this vlog series on Rachmaninoff's third concerto, this day focusing a little bit on the first movement and my learning process through it. You're going to see me doing some practice. This is definitely not where I want it to be performance level, though it's getting there. And yeah, just share some thoughts with you guys that I had about this piece. So every so often in this piece, there are places where you have crisscrossing voices and you try to keep track of a line, but it jumps between the hands in a sort of odd way. In this section, there's a line right there that starts in the left hand and then it jumps up to the right hand, but it's the same exact line. You can tell that from this little beam here. And then the same idea happens down here, except that it's all written in the right hand. And what I did with this little bracket is I put it in the left hand. I put the first 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to make it the same as this. And the reason I do that is to keep a certain pattern in the hand. As much as possible, to help myself learn, it helps to use these finger patterns. So that part right here, you see it crosses like that, and then I tried to do the same thing, and then I just realized it, so I just made a recent change, which is why I'm not too fast at it. But as much as possible, I try to find those things in the music. If you're having technical problems with this piece, the very first thing to look at, or any piece for that matter, is your choice of fingering. Because if your fingers aren't lining up, it can cause all kinds of other technical problems. And just simply changing the fingering can fix a lot of those. Here's another example of a little place where I took one of the notes in the right hand, and here's the reason why. The way it's written is like this. But I really don't like this jump here. By eliminating this one note, I can very easily make the switch. And it comes out like this. So even this late in the game, after I've been playing it for quite a while, I'm always trying to reevaluate fingering. See if I have the best one possible, and I'm always making changes. A question I also ask myself besides economy of motion is, does the fingering allow me to do what the phrase is telling me to do? So it's mezzo forte and then it's decrescendoing to piano. Certain fingerings will just be harder because of the way you have to jump around. So in researching this piece and listening to a ton of different recordings, you notice, of course, that many pianists do very different things. In the case of Rachmaninoff, however, he does have a recording of this piece. It's available on YouTube. And in the comments, you'll find a lot of people saying, oh, well, this is the composer, so this is the way that he meant to play it. But there's a couple problems with that. The first is you'll notice that he doesn't always follow his own dynamic markings in the piece. If he says it's piano, sometimes it's forte, or he doesn't follow some articulation things. And the second thing to keep in consideration is the fact that at the time he recorded it, in the 1930s, the LP records of the time were very limited in their length. So the recording of his third concerto is shortened. He leaves out entire sections of the piece, and he really rushes through certain sections a lot. Too much to the point where you can't even really hear the distinct clarity of the notes, in contrast to him playing shorter pieces where he takes much more time. This opens up a whole can of worms when you start to do things differently than is written in the score, but for the reasons I just said, I've chosen to do a couple different things, like for instance, right here, I'm playing this part softer than written so that I can grow into this majestic part right here. One of the challenges when you're playing classical music, especially music with so many notes like this, is you don't want the quantity and the speed of the notes to get in the way of the main subject matter or the structure of the piece.
It seems to have too many notes, Your Majesty.
Exactly. Very well put.
So most music will have a melody, a bass line, and then some kind of inner harmony. And there's a pretty good example right here. This is a place where the piece starts to move faster and faster. That's what this means here, più vivo, with a little more life, more speed. And you don't want all those notes to get in the way of the main subject matter. So it helps that he has these upper ones with staffs pointing upwards, and then this tenuto here. And then there's the bass line. So here's what it will sound like. So it would be very easy to play a section like this. Aside from being messy, all the sound levels were more or less the same. But even with all these notes going on, there's a very clear structure. If you slow down in your practice, you can realize it's really a bass line and a melody line. All the rest in between is just filling in harmonies. So even with all the quick moving notes, you still want to be able to hear the melody and the bass. I think this is one of the harder sections in this movement. Something that I'm trying to do in that passage is fulfill what the text says as far as these tenutos. So what that means is this one is louder. And the first note in this kind of this sigh, like da-da, da-da, da-da. But then he switches it right here. Now the emphasis is on the second note. So you have da-da, 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 which sort of drives the rhythm forward. And being aware of those little changes helps to bring the music to life a lot. Now, all of these things I've been talking about can be summed up in what, in my humble opinion, is one of the greatest few minutes of piano music ever written, and that would be the cadenza of the first movement.